Good morning, church. Welcome to our youth service. We are glad to have you with us and we hope you enjoy.
Good morning, church. I greet you in the wonderful name of our Lord and Savior. Could we please bow our heads in prayer? Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, as I stand here in front this morning, Lord, I come before you, Lord. And I just want to thank you for the blessings that you've put upon our lives, Lord. Thank you, Lord, that I'm still healthy and that everyone surrounded with me is still healthy, Lord. Thank you, Lord, for giving us the power and the courage, Lord, to get out of bed this morning, Lord. Thank you, Lord, for making sure we have warm clothes to wear, Lord. There is so much people out there who does not have that opportunity, Lord. Lord, I come before you, Lord, and as the speaker speaks this morning, dear Lord, I pray that whatever is said, Lord, that people will take it to heart, Lord. And whatever is said, Lord, that they would get up and do something about what is said, Lord. Lord, I come before you, Lord, and I bless each and everyone's heart, Lord. You know their circumstances, Lord. You know what they're going through, Lord. I ask that you look after them and cover them with your blood, Lord. I ask that you protect everyone, Lord. In your name I pray, amen.
Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul, worship His holy name. Sing like never before, oh my soul, I'll worship Your holy name. The sun comes up, it's a new day dawn. It's time to sing Your song again. Whatever may pass and whatever lies before, let me be singing when the evening comes. So bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul, worship His holy name. Sing like never before, oh my soul, I'll worship Your holy name. And on that day when my strength is failing, the end draws near and my time has come, still my soul sing Your praise unending. 10,000 years and then forevermore. So bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul, worship His holy name. Sing like never before, oh my soul, I'll worship Your holy name. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul, worship His holy name. Sing like never before, oh my soul, I'll worship Your holy name. I'll worship Your holy name.
Good morning, church. As you have heard, this is a youth service, and like our normal youth, our messages will not be too long, but we will have a nice, short, impactful message. I was sitting, I think it was just before the lockdown, I was standing in the kitchen, and I was speaking to Maclean, and I was thinking about youth, and I said that our services or our message tonight should really be nice and short and impactful. And she looks at me and she says, "Oh, you want to talk?" And I was like, "What you mean, Madeline?" And she says, "No, I like your messages and everything, it's nice, but you don't speak real short messages." And so ever since then, I've found myself to not be too long at youth, and hopefully we'll keep that promise today. But anyway, today we are going through Job 38, verse 1 to 4. I'm reading from the New King James Version, and let's read. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, "Who is this who darkens counsel by words without knowledge? Now prepare yourself like a man. I will question you, and you shall answer me. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me if you have understanding." And so, yes, that's great to hear. But now we've got to try to get more understanding of why God said that and what has brought us up to this point. And it's almost like us watching a movie, and I just gave you a nice spoiler, gave you the end of the movie, but let's get through some context and some of the story of Job. And so Job is a very unique and very interesting book. It's set in the land of Uz. All characters are non-Israelites. The exact time or when this occurrence happened is not sure. And I think that's also a great factor, that we do not have all those information, so that we can truly focus on the story. And so Job is of course the main character, and Job is known to be a blameless, upright man who honors God. Job is also a really wealthy guy. He has lots of livestock, big house, it says, great family, many servants, and we see that Job is just a powerful man who honors God. And then from finding that information out, we are then transported to the heavenly realms, and we see that God is holding court with the angelic beings, referred to in the word as sons of God, and among them is Satan. And we see that to Satan, God brags about this great servant of him named Job, and he says that there is none like him. You know, he's a blameless and upright man. And Satan proposes that the only reason Job obeys God is because God has blessed him so. And because he's a blessed man and has many riches. And Satan claims that if you cause him to suffer, he will surely curse you to your face. And then we see that God agrees to bring suffering on Job. And I think the instant thought that I have when reading this, and I think maybe that most of us have, is, why did God do that? Why did God allow that? And I think that most of us after this assume that we'll be given an answer on why Job has experienced or will experience the suffering and why God has allowed Job to suffer. And then soon after that, we see that the suffering occurs. And we see that Job's servants are killed, his livestock are killed, his children died. It says that a strong wind came through and the house fell upon the children, and only a servant could tell Job that his children died. But still, he did not sin, and he worshipped God. And then after that, we see a similar setting to before, when God is holding court with the angelic beings, or as we said, the sons of God. And again, Satan is among them, and God goes to him and he says, "You see, my servant, he has made him as his integrity, and he's still worshipping me." And then Satan says that if you cause suffering on him himself, he will surely curse you to your face. And then of course we see after that Job's health was attacked. And through about chapters 3 to 28, we see the cycle between Job and the friends. And they essentially debate about three questions. Is God just? Does God run the universe on the principle of justice? And why is Job suffering? And then, in the end, in a sense of this 20 or this 25 chapters, we see that the friends come to the conclusion that it has to be Job. Because God is just. And so if God is just, it has to be Job. Job had to have done something wrong for the suffering to occur. And then we see soon after that Job, there was a back and forth between the friends, and then we see that Job suddenly, he gives up on his friends. And we see that Job then calls out God. But first, we see the next friend, Elihu, comes in, and he agrees with the friends that God is just, but he also adds that his suffering, or suffering in general, could be a warning to avoid future sin, and that it also builds character. And so after that, Job doesn't really reply much. But then we finally see that God responds, and this is where we find ourselves in verse 38. And I will just read verse 38, verse 4. And it says, "Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me if you have understanding." And then we see that afterwards, after this portion of scripture, God takes Job on a sort of journey, asking him various questions and showing him the complexities of the universe. And to quote a scholar, he says that it shows that the universe is a vast and complex place, and God's eyes is on all of it. But Job and his friends only have the small horizon of life to draw from, and his view is very limited. And so what looks like injustice needs to be seen in an infinitely larger context. And again we see that, and that's basically saying that God's perspective is infinitely bigger, and he interacts with the universe of complexities when making decisions. And so of course Job will be unable to understand it. And we learn also that Job he never learns why he suffered. And that takes us to our first point, and that is, we are unable to understand everything. It is simply impossible for us to find the answers and to find meaning in everything in life, or most of life, and most of a lot of things. It is our human nature often to want to know how things work and to try to find meaning in various things, but most times we simply cannot. Because also a lot of times that simply can be pointless. And as humans, we do not have sufficient knowledge to understand it. And often when it comes to decisions and making decisions, various outcomes and what to do and what decisions to make, we won't be able to understand the consequences or various factors of it. And that's simply life. But we see that in this 32 chapters of when Job and his friends are debating about why Job is experiencing the suffering, we see that, of course, as we said, the friends come to the conclusion that it has to be Job. Because if God is just, Job must have been sinful. But also in that time, Job has always claimed his innocence. And he also mentions various times that if I'm innocent and if I've done nothing wrong, God must be unjust. And so, even his friends try to list the possibilities of what Job had to have done. Maybe possible sin that Job has done, because this doesn't make sense, and they are unable to figure out why Job was suffering. And we see in those 32 chapters that all the talk and debate between them was essentially pointless, because they could never come to the realization or the conclusion of why anything happened. We see that later in the book that Job finally comes to the realization, and Job himself cannot comprehend it. And we see this when Job answers God. And this is in Job 40, verse 3 to 5. And it said, Then Job answered to the Lord and said, Behold, I am vile. What shall I answer you? I lay my hand over my mouth. Once I have spoken, but I will not answer. Yes, twice, but I will proceed no further. And in this we see that Job is speechless. And in a sense also ashamed of calling out to God. And he understands that, or he gets to this, that he's unable to comprehend it. He's unable to comprehend what God can, and the complexities of the universe and the complexities of life. And then also in verse 42, or chapter 42, verse 1 to 3, we see that Job again answers. And it says, Then Job answered the Lord and said, I know that you can do everything, and that no purpose of yours can be withheld from you. You asked, Who is this wise counsel without knowledge? Therefore I have uttered what I did not understand, things too wonderful for me, which I did not know. And so we see Job eventually coming to the realization that he's simply unable to understand why he suffered, simply unable to understand why so many things happen, or the reasons behind it. Things are simply, and as it's in his words, he says, things are simply too wonderful for me, which I did not know. And I always find when thinking and when speaking to people about meaning and understanding and applying and talking about it, I always come back to a favorite book of mine in the Bible, and it's Ecclesiastes. And there's a popular word in Ecclesiastes, and this word is in our translation that we often see is either vain or meaningless. And the Hebrew word is hevel. And hevel means smoke or vapor. And so that wasn't 100% translated, but the true meaning is smoke or vapor. And as smoke or vapor, we can, in life and various things, and as the process, we can see it. But when we try to grasp or grab it, we are simply unable to, because we will never be able to find out everything. But even though we do not always have understanding, and that we might not be, and we understand that we are unable to understand, we can have peace. And this takes me to my second point, and that is being at peace, knowing that we are unable to understand. And what I mean by this is that we should be at peace with being unable to understand, because, and knowing that our Father understands everything. We are only unable to understand a fraction of what we see that even Job acknowledges this fact, and this is in chapter 40. It says, I know that you can do everything, and that no purpose of yours can be withheld from you. And so I believe that even though we are unable to understand a lot of things, we can find so much peace knowing that God understands. And that knowing that He will never leave us nor forsake us, knowing that in His infinite wisdom, He's with us and He's guiding us. And so I believe it's a beautiful thing knowing that we can have peace, and know that we can have so much peace, knowing that God understands. And I pray that we all will be able to experience this peace. I know it's not always easy to say and easy to do, but I pray that we experience His peace, and not the peace of the world, but the peace of God that surpasses all understanding. And we need not to worry that we are unable to understand. And when I think of, or when I'm in times of worry, or times of stress, or times of not knowing what's happening and being upset with not knowing what's happening, I'm always reminded of this one verse, and it is in Matthew 6, verse 24, and it's the Sermon on the Mount, and where Jesus speaks to the crowd, and He says, therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothes? Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? And so that's just a beautiful reminder that we don't need to worry. We see that our Father feeds the birds, and aren't we all more valuable than them? And so even though we are unable to understand everything, and knowing that we can be at peace, knowing that we are unable to understand, because our Father understands everything, we should fully put our trust in God's wisdom and His character. And that is the third point, and that we should put our full trust in God, even though all of those things. And the verse that came straight into mind after hearing that, or after thinking about this, is Proverbs 3, verse 5 to 6, a pretty popular verse. And it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. I think that's just a nice reminder, I want to say nice thing to hear after what we have been journeying through. Is that trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Emphasizing that we are unable to understand. But our Father's there, and He understands everything. So lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct your path straight. And so, as we heard, might not be able to understand, we can be at peace at that. But I believe that we should trust in God fully. And as His word says, in all your ways acknowledge Him, and truly He shall direct your path. Seek His guidance, trust Him, seek refuge in Him, because our Father is there, and He will never leave us nor forsake us. And so, let's pray. Father, we just come before You, Lord, thanking You for this word, Father. Thanking You that we could hear from You, Father. Thanking You that even though in this coronavirus that we could still be intentional, Lord. and that we still have the privilege of reading your word and the privilege of studying your word, Lord. And that we could still be connected, Father, as a family and as a church. So I pray that we have a blessed week further. I pray that your hand of protection is over each and every one of us, Lord. I pray that your guidance is with us, Lord, and I pray that we know that we can trust in you fully, Lord. I pray that we know that we can give it all to you, Father, knowing that we can trust in you fully, Lord, and how beautiful that is, Lord. I pray that we know and that we understand that we are never going to understand everything, but find peace and find joy in knowing that our Father understands, and knowing that He understands everything. So be with us, Father. Thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.